his advantage of being a very successful newcomer, which is why he would change all his equipment with the best items he could find. But there is an interesting point. The bonus attributes of the summoner class are not added to his combat attributes, but only to attributes that help with summoning, such as taming. The master thought about it and realized that sooner or later his pets would become his main power. He continued to look around the store, and he wondered if there was something here that could improve the attributes of his pet already. For example, could it be some item that would be enchanted to enhance? Suddenly, something made him very suspicious. This was Mother Nature's armband, thanks to which all pets can receive a 20% bonus to their survivability and a 15% bonus to their attack gain. Moreover, the chance for a pet to return from a projectile increases by 5% at once. Seeing this offer, the archer didn't think much of it and realized that he would definitely take it, after which the system informed him that he bought this armband for 150,000 gold. He was very happy that the items for the summoners were finally starting to be sold. But suddenly, he thought, perhaps there are other Mother Nature items for summoners? He turned to the system and entered Mother Nature in the search, and was very surprised, because quite a few other options were found. For example, it gives all pets a 35% boost in attack power, and increases critical hit chance by as much as 15%. It turns out quite an interesting dilemma, because the archer uses a bow but a staff. Should he really take it? It's not clear yet. But why should he think he won't use his bow right forever? That's why he's spending practically all of his funds on this method, which immediately, again with magical blue glare, passes into his hands. After the deal has already been closed, the archer looks at his inventory and realizes that it's still pretty early, but it would be nice to get used to a different style of battle. So far, it is really very strange to hold the staff in his hands and very unaccustomed. But in the meantime, he and his wolf standing near the arch, after which the master performs a call. It turns out that the average training works even in cities, so it is better to use it constantly. That's why, in order not to waste time, the team right now begins a period of quests. Meanwhile, the weather in the city was very clear. It was very warm, and the birds were drinking, as suddenly someone shouted out and said that others should also look at it, for there was a caller in front of them. But it didn't end there, and he went on to say that his pet is a miserable wolf who must have a very low level. There was absolutely no reaction from the master, while a bunch of people surrounded him completely unnoticed at once, half of whom were in shock. One of them added that he heard that the summoner has a very slow pumping, and he does not know if anyone has reached at least level 15. But the team had absolutely no reaction to them, not wasting their precious time and energy. Instead, the archer said he would take up the quest to clear the camp, as during its execution experience for goblins will be doubled. But he said he would get the whole experience alone. At this time, they saw their first NPC for quest, whom they immediately approached and said hello. The master waved his hand and hoped the character hadn't forgotten him after the reincarnation. He answered right away, "Oh, look at that. It's Ian." A dialogue immediately ensued between them, during which the master asked how he was doing. He also noticed that the character's attitude didn't seem to reset toward him, which is very good. He asked if they had had any problems with the goblins, to which the NPC replied, just about to say that they had had some problems because of the goblin camp, since their mopping up team couldn't deal with them. "I assume you know a good mercenary who can really help?" "I will personally take care of it," replied the master, and smiled, to which the NPC thanked him, and said it would be very cool, but it would be better to take someone else. Meanwhile, the master looks into his system, which is already showing him the information in green. And there is a new mission, clearing the goblin camp in Somer Canyon. And it is also reported that Raphael, who is the leader of the city, is looking for people in the sweep team. Is our hero ready to accept this assignment? The archer smiled a little, and seemed to remember everything correctly. Suddenly he got nervous. The quest is a group one. That's why he began racking his brains thinking about whom all the same can be invited, because it is unlikely in the guild there are newcomers who will be below level 40. Then he stops and asks if he can't postpone the sweep until he can find a group. Sure. I can do that for you. Maybe you can take care of the goblin scouts, asked him the NPC, around whom the system continued to glow with the notification that the team had received a quest. Thus, the system has already offered them a new mission, namely to eliminate goblin scouts in Summer Canyon. Thanks to the fact that the archer had just been bailed out, he said he would certainly look into the matter, to which the new character thanked him profusely. The only thing our hero didn't like was that it would take 30 minutes to get there and back. It's a little annoying, but that's okay. After that, he decides to log into his system for a second to see if Yuhain, who was online at the time, is online. He was very lucky because he decided to go into correspondence with him, because he asked to accept his request to join the guild, after which they had a dialogue. What? A request to join? You're already level 20? Yeah, I just got it. Wow, it's true, you're a monster. I accepted your request. Dude, how did you get to level 20 so fast? I've heard that even the dark wizards, who are known for their speed, never made it to the 20th level. To which our master replies, have you forgotten who you're talking to? I'll catch up with you shortly, so get ready. Yeah, okay, hurry up. It's tough without you. Well, their dialogue didn't end there, and Ian decided to ask who in our guild is about level 40. The Hyun was very surprised, saying that there's no one yet, and asked what he wanted. Come on, no big deal, I'll figure it out myself, the archer replied and left. He decides to look in the guild chat room, because it's better to find a guild helper than to look for some other character. That's why he goes into the chat room and tells the team that he's back, and asks how the guys are doing. The team immediately greets him and wonders how he's already reached level 20. Another person also asked, isn't leveling up for a summoner awfully slow, or was that nonsense? To which our hero, with particular enthusiasm, answers his friends that this is only level 20th, nothing special, and soon he plans to return to his original level on what the team. He was very much supported, because without him, they are very, very hard. Taking advantage of the opportunity, the guy also asked the guild if anyone was level 40. But Hyun couldn't understand why he was looking for a level 40 begging sign. Here our archer had a rather interesting idea that amused him a bit, because he wondered, would everyone be shocked if he told them about the quests with goblins at level 20? That's why, without wasting a second, he simply continued that he plans to do the quest of clearing the goblin camp. But it's a group assignment. That's why he's looking for one more person to stand up for himself in the camp. Although, without thinking long, he said that he needed absolutely anyone, because he can cope completely alone. To which his team just had the utmost surprise, and they decided to clarify. Doesn't he have level 20? How is he going to do the quest with the goblins' camp? And say he can do it by himself? Another person from their guild also joined in the dialogue, and began to criticize the hero. Allegedly, he travels only at the expense of other players. There was a conflict in the guild. Some were in favor of the idea, while others were against it. But Ian, like a true leader, replied that he has a very strong pet, so he thinks he can do the quest on his own. Or rather, he bets all on his pet. Dude, looks like good luck is on your side. He starts smiling and getting a little embarrassed, at which point another person also added to the dialogue, and said that now it's clear how he got level 20 so quickly. But the one who first criticized him said he had a friend of about level 45, which made the archer very happy, and asked them to meet. But Carvin tweaked it a little, saying that the thing is that she has a production class, so her fighting abilities are a little off. But that didn't bother him, and he just asked what her class was, and it turns out she was just a cook. This, of course, surprised our character quite a bit, and he decided to ask again, is she really a cook? To which he received a positive response, although he understands that it is unlikely she will be useful in battle. But if he does not mind, she can go with him. Of course, he was all for it, and simply asked him to write her when she was in the game, to which his companion decided to ask again if he was sure. After all, he just needed someone to just start this quest. He absolutely does not care what the skills will be. That's why he answered affirmatively that yes, he is ready. After that, he said he still has a lot of work and left the chat room, saying that he likes to correspond, but not so much. Feeling confident in his abilities and again the desire to do something, he decides that it is necessary to deal with the previous quest before Carvin wrote him. Meanwhile, the weather in the woods is very nice. There's even a waterfall and a river. Suddenly, the master takes a closer look and sees a flock of leopards. It turns out that it was a level 30th monster, though it looked very cool and quite harmless. As suddenly, in his mind, he looked at him again and convinced himself of that. At that moment, the wolf took another step on the ground and decided just to turn around and walk away from the master, to which he reacted very strangely and very much hoped that he could not read his mind, right? It was obvious that the wolf was really offended by him, after which the archer went up to him and told him that he was really very dear to him, specifying whether the wolf himself knows about it, to which he simply closed his eyes and made a quiet threat. After that, the archer had no desire to do anything further. He was just as very upset. It was obvious that he was very ashamed of his act, and it was unclear how to redeem himself, as suddenly the wolf began to glow with blue flame. Smoke formed around him. He began to growl, and the archer absolutely did not understand what was happening to him. He was in a panic and tried to figure out what was going on after all, and turned to his system for help. But all to no avail, when suddenly he realized something. And was it really so? Suddenly, the wolf's eyes turned demonic red, and a red lightning formed around him, which seemed to communicate that something unpleasant was going on. Turns out it was evolution. Finally, he was evolving. Jan was very happy because finally his friend was starting to become even cooler and even stronger, and he had a smile of happiness in his eyes. But he still couldn't understand why he was evolving now. What was even the requirement for evolution? At this time, the process continues, and the wolf is no longer even visible, all in a blue and white glare. It finally happened. The archer was immensely happy, because finally his potential reached 100. I wonder if his appearance would change if he evolved? At this point, the archer began to fantasize that it would be very cool if his wolf got bigger. That way he could already eat on it. At that moment, the wolf began to appear before him, already in a red form. And the explosion and flash from the evolution was visible throughout the forest, all the way up to the sky. The wolf visibly changed and began to growl, from which our hero was only glad, because now his friend, to whom, of course, he was guilty, transformed in front of him in a completely new image. He was very strong and beautiful, and evolved into a wolf with a blood-red mane. Then came the system which reported that the mastery of the ability medium training increased as a result of the evolution of the pet, and also increased its glory by 15 due to the fact that his pet for the first time successfully evolved. He was very happy and could not contain his emotions with happiness, praising his wolf. He went up to him, stroked him, and complimented him, saying he loved him very much. I hope the wolf has already forgotten what happened 10 minutes ago. Then the system opened his statistics and reported that he has a unique ability, vampirism, which takes 15% of damage to enemies, and, on a critical hit, it rises to 50%. Moreover, now the wolf with a red mane has a more aggressive temperament. After that, the archer approached him and noticed that the discharge had changed from normal to rare, which meant that the wolf could still evolve. But if he does it again, will his discharge once again change to unique? The question is quite interesting, so be sure to subscribe to find out more.